Good evening and thanks for joining us. Elon Athletics is making headlines this week both for community service and athletic accomplishments.
We'll have those stories for you later in the show, but first we begin tonight with new information. The power in the Global neighborhood is back on. Some students were in the dark this afternoon after the power went out. Physical Plant restored the power a couple of hours ago. Lights in the lobby and some of the bathrooms were out for about 4 hours. We spoke with Physical Plant, who said the outage was caused when a construction worker hit a power line laying down concrete. You might remember in February, students in this building were in the dark after a series of ice storms hit the state. Some students were forced to evacuate to Moseley temporarily.
Next, we are on top of a developing story. Complaints from students about Elon's parking is nothing new. It's a story we've covered several times on our broadcast.
But now some Elon students are taking a stand and forming a petition against campus security and police. Students are asking for just one thing, some more parking spots. Elon Local News' Brennan McDavid is in downtown Elon and spoke with some of these students about their concerns. Brennan?
Megan and Sky, students created a petition using change.org to call attention to these issues regarding campus parking. And so far, it has nearly 300 signatures. The petition's creator is listed as concerned students, and it is addressed to campus security. People who sign the petition post their opinions. I spoke to 2 commuter students who hope the petition will bring a more effective solution to parking troubles.
Being a college student, I believe that a lot of students don't want to have to deal with yet another cost. That if they could just park on the lot because no one's there.
I guess if the parking lot were used more, I would understand, okay, I should buy a pass so I can secure a spot over there. But there's no reason, I feel like there's no reason, in my opinion, to pay $150 for a whole empty lot.
I also spoke to the director of campus safety and police, Dennis Franks, who says he has not seen the petition, but the problem boils down to one thing.
Parking on campus is all about having the proper permit. So if there's people with no permits parking on campus, then they can't park in lots, but there's signage at each parking lot that says what permit is allowed to park in that particular parking lot.
Frank says that he and his staff try to reevaluate when students bring forward concerns, but some students are complaining about off-campus parking restrictions, like the lot behind me next to the Elon Community Church. And Frank says these actually fall under the town of Elon's jurisdiction. So far, the petition only addresses campus security. Brennan McDavid, Elon Local News.
Thanks, Brennan. Elon's parking problems may be making local headlines, but the school is being recognized nationally for a different reason: drug and alcohol-related arrests. The Office of Post-Secondary Education, a branch of the U.S. Department of Education, found that Elon ranks 27th for the most on-campus alcohol arrests per 1,000 students. This is Elon's first time in the top 50, with a drastic change from being ranked 92 in 2011. Some other schools that made the list were Appalachian State University in 48th place, Clemson University coming in at number 26, the University of New Hampshire at number 14, and the University of Colorado coming in at 4. The University of Wisconsin at La Crosse ranked number 1. Students received an email last week from Campus Technology about a potential internet bug called Heartbleed that could hack their personal information. Our Courtney Davis is in the studio with more on how this bug might affect you and how to keep your personal information out of the hands of hackers. Courtney?
Megan and Sky, it's as if you left the back door of your house unlocked with your wallet sitting on the table. According to CNN Money, the Heartbleed internet bug has collected personal information such as passwords, credit card numbers, and bank information for more than 2 years. The good news is that Google researchers believe the leak was discovered before hackers were aware of it. Earlier today, I sat down with Elon University Chief Information Officer Chris Fulkerson to learn what students need to know about their internet privacy.
Just being careful is the most important thing about online security. Change passwords on a regular basis. Check your statements, bank statements, periodically. Once a month is a good idea. Sooner if you suspect something. It's just remain vigilant.
Although many sites fix the encryption problem, Fulkerson says students should change their passwords on all sites just to be safe. This will also prevent hackers from finding your password information from one site and use tracking tools to hack into accounts on other websites. Facebook, Google, and Netflix say that they have fixed the bug, but that suggests that users change their password. This includes Gmail accounts and Elon student emails. For more information, be sure to check out our website at elonlocalnews.com. I'm Courtney Davis. Megan and Sky, back to you.
It's the end of the semester, and if your bank account is looking a little empty, take advantage of your tax return. Tomorrow is the last day to file your taxes, and if you're worried about doing this, don't stress. TurboTax is an easy way to file your taxes. All you need to do is create a profile and have your W-2 forms ready to go.
Out of Elon's baseball's 35-man roster, 2 players were selected for random drug testing by the National Collegiate Athletic Association. That means as a player, you have slightly more than a 5% chance of getting picked. Our Alex Rose found the player whose life was saved by those odds.
Elon pitcher Joe McGillicuddy thought he struck out when he failed a random NCAA drug test last fall.
In my head, I was like, no, this is impossible.
McGillicuddy says he's never taken any performance-enhancing drugs, but the test showed high testosterone levels. He tested positive for the hormone called HCG.
My emotions kind of got a little rattled, I should say, because, doing research, when the hormone is above this level, it's most likely a tumor of, cancer and whatnot.
He went back home to Virginia and was diagnosed with testicular cancer. He had to go through 3 rounds of chemotherapy in 9 weeks. After his final treatment in February, he took a CT scan that came back with good news. He was cancer-free.
That was a blessing. It was great, because then I realized I could get back into baseball, because that was something I missed during that time.
And he got back to baseball last Wednesday by throwing a special opening pitch for the Phoenix. The catcher was his twin brother John, a High Point University starting pitcher. After the game, the Elon and High Point baseball teams shaved their heads in support of cancer research.
When you get it shaved, it's an ugly look when you're done with it. Trust me, I know.
But even so, his brother and teammates were all good sports.
He's so strong mentally, and he willed his way through this whole thing, and he helped me through it too. The fact that my teammates are here, man, you should have heard him like, oh, I've never buzzed my hair. But the fact that he means a lot to me, they recognize that, and I'm happy for it.
McGillicuddy is not currently enrolled at Elon, but he plans to return in the fall. Looking back, he says this experience has been life-changing.
I'd say I'd learned from it. It's an adversity. Builder, your character is really challenged. Can you stay true to who you are throughout the process?
Alex Rose, Elon Local News.
The Elon and High Point baseball teams raised more than $14,000 for the Versus Cancer Foundation that night. The Phoenix won the game 12-2.
The baseball team isn't the only group on campus working to raise awareness for cancer. Next Friday, Elon will host its 2nd annual Relay for Life. The event raises money for cancer research and shows support for survivors. People who participate raise money to donate to the American Cancer Society. But for one, Elon Student Relay for Life is more than a fundraising event. Elon Local News' Michelle Alfini spoke to one student who has a special connection to the cause.
Alexa Lowy is one of hundreds of students that will fill this track for Relay for Life. But for her, this event is more than just walking.
She was the most non-judgmental person you would ever meet in your life.
4 years ago, Lowy lost her best friend, Esther Earle, to thyroid cancer. Esther was diagnosed at the age of 11, and Lowy says she didn't know what to do.
Can't really wrap your head around it at first.
While going through treatment, Esther found a place to connect to people in the online community.
And she has a YouTube video channel. So everyone was watching them and wishing oh, I wish I knew her when she was alive. So that's how I know. I was really lucky to know her.
Esther made several close friends while blogging, including young adult author John Green. After she died, Green helped turn her story into a book titled This Star Won't Go Out. The book is made up of her journal entries and notes from some of her closest friends.
This is what I wrote.
Esther's story debuted at number 7 on the New York Times bestsellers list, and her story also inspired Green to write his own book. He wrote The Fault in Our Stars and dedicated it to Esther.
It's not about her, but there's little parts that it's just there's Esther.
Esther's legacy also lives on through the This Star Won't Go Out Foundation, an organization created by her family and friends. The foundation has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to support families of children with terminal illnesses in Esther's memory.
Definitely makes it easier to know that she didn't live for nothing. People worry about leaving their mark, and she definitely did.
And Loie says Esther would be proud of her impact.
I think that she would not believe it and think it was absolutely ridiculous, but she'd be very happy.
Michelle Alfini, Elon Local News.
Elon's Relay for Life will take place on April 26th. Students looking to register can go to relayforlife.org/Elon University NC. So far, they have raised more than $20,000. And winter is finally behind us and spring is here. Elon Local News' Jeff Ackerman is here in the studio with this week's forecast. Jeff, what can we expect this week?
Well, good evening, Sky. We've definitely been lucky with the weather the last few days with sunny skies and warm temperatures. Today we did see some cloudy skies, but that didn't stop Elon students from walking around campus in their spring clothes. Today's high was 74 degrees with a low of 63. But the weather will be a bit scattered this week. Here's a look at your Phoenix 5-day forecast. Tomorrow you might need to use your umbrella because there is a 90% chance of rain and thunderstorms. College Coffee has already been moved inside to McKinnon. Tomorrow's high will be at 70 degrees with a low of 32. Wednesday, the sun will be back out with a high temperature of 58 degrees and another low of 32. We'll see partly cloudy skies on both Thursday and Fridays with the high temperatures resting in the 60s. And on Saturday, there might be showers with a high temperature of 71 degrees and a low of 48. Now, I know we had an intense winter, but it definitely seems like the warmer temperatures are here to stay. I'm Jeff Ackerman, Megan and Sky, back to you.
Coming up on Elon Local News.
I've heard the term brother and sister in Christ my whole life, but only till I got to Freedom Biker Church and had people really.
Easter is less than a week away, and one local group will be heading to a church that's a bit out of the ordinary.
One Elon group brought a special performance to campus this week to help raise awareness for diversity.
Spring is here, but some Elon students didn't celebrate by the pool. Find out more about how students welcomed in the new season.
The countdown to graduation begins, and for many Elon seniors, that means one thing: moving day. Elon Local News' Gary Grumbach is here in the studio with some tips on how seniors can get rid of their furniture while getting their best bang for their buck. Gary?
Megan, graduation is 38 days away, which means seniors are getting ready to sell furniture, appliances, and books to move out of their dorm or apartment. Here are some easy ways for your graduating seniors to get rid of all your stuff and you underclassmen to get some of it off their hands. You might even make a little bit of money. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Alamance County has its own website on Yahoo Groups called Alamance Free Cycle. It's a nonprofit movement of county residents who give and get stuff for free instead of it ending up in landfills. Membership is free and everything posted on the website is free as well. Staying online, check out trashnothing.com. It's a website with people giving away things to each other across the country. To sell your stuff, join the local Burlington, North Carolina group and create a post with details on what you have to give away. This week, there are people looking for paint and furniture and a Burlington resident giving away windows. Just across the street from Studio A is the campus bookstore. Barnes & Noble is buying back textbooks. Bring your textbooks to the bookstore from now until the end of finals week and get up to 50% cash back. Just remember to have your Phoenix card with you. And finally, there's always good old eNet. Check out the want ads and for sale sections of the website. You can post housing, books, electronics, and furniture to sell, and there's also a free section. So seniors, enjoy the last 38 days of college and make a few bucks in the process. Looking out for the college consumer, I'm Gary Grumbach.
Tonight marks the beginning of Passover, and for many students that means it's time to feast. The Sklut Hillel Center is currently hosting a Passover Seder. The Elon community came out to enjoy some Jewish traditions such as brisket and matzo ball soup. Passover marks the anniversary of Moses guiding the Israelites out of Egypt. This will be Hillel director Nancy Luberoff's last Passover at Elon because she resigned a few weeks ago. As one of her final acts, she read the 10 plagues at the Seder along with the other Elon students.
And if you celebrate Easter and are planning on being on campus this weekend, there are some things you need to know. Catholic Campus Ministry will have a Mass on Holy Thursday at 7:30 p.m. in Holt Chapel. A Station of the Cross service will be held on Friday at noon in front of Alamance Fountain, and Easter Mass will be held in McKinnon Hall on Sunday at noon. Students are also invited to volunteer this week at the annual Burlington Easter egg hunt. The event will be held at the Burlington City Park on Saturday morning. And as for food on campus, on Friday, dining halls will be on regular schedule, but on Saturday and Sunday, Lakeside will be open 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Acorn will be open 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. On Easter Monday, Lakeside will be open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Acorn will be open at 11 and close at 1 the next morning.
You see them in movies, big gruff men wearing leather with beards and tattoos. They're bikers, and whether they are in a group or riding alone, you can hear them coming for miles. But what if Hollywood got it wrong? Our Jason Puckett has the story of a local group of bikers who might spend their Sundays the same way you do.
Pulling into the parking lot, you see bikes of all brands and types. It's a look everyone knows, but if you look closely, this motorcycle rally starts to seem like more. Every Sunday, this ballpark in Pleasant Garden, North Carolina, becomes a house of worship.
We have a blast, man. It is so much fun.
Randy Austin is the pastor of Freedom Biker Church, and his message can be fast-paced. How do you explain the connection between, the motorcycles that people care about so much, that's such a big part of their lives, and how you're bringing God into it?
It is a culture. It is a lifestyle. For a biker, that is their lifestyle. Most everything revolves around their bike.
Oh, look, I feel this breeze that I've never felt before, and all of a sudden in my soul, I heard, here I am.
Praise God.
Biking seems like gospel here, but the leathers, tattoos, and bikes are what make it a safe place.
They're not going to go into a traditional church, and their leathers and all that, they're not going to dress up in a suit and tie, because that's not who they are.
Is that from experience that you know that?
We hear that secondhand. We've had friends that have gone on bike rides, and it would be on a Sunday, and they'd stop in a traditional church. And the people outside would go in and close
We'd like
the
to
doors.
apologize for technical difficulties. You can catch that story on our website. Coming up, some familiar faces made an appearance at Elon last week. How this event helped shape Elon diversity.
Elon was painted in colors on Friday. Find out more about this annual celebration.
Shakira, Justin Bieber, and One Direction, or versions of them, visited Elon's campus on Friday. Our Corey Shegda has the story.
I'm most nervous for tripping and falling on my face.
Shakira, Bustin' Jeebers, and Every Direction were just a few of the groups featured at the Dragstravaganza at Tap House on Friday. Elon's sophomore, Robbie Linklater, performed at the event.
I am most excited to just have a good time and dance around and not care what people are thinking.
Elon's LGBTQIA organization Spectrum put on the show for Pride Week to help raise awareness for diversity. But Linklater says being a part of Spectrum is more than just being in a club.
I think it definitely made me a better person, a more aware, caring person. It's definitely made me feel better about myself, and I don't know, it's been a really great experience. I couldn't really imagine being at Elon without Spectrum.
And Linklater isn't the only one who feels this way. Co-event coordinator of Spectrum and performer Jaden Wilkes is an active member in the LGBTQIA community. Wilkes was born as a female but identifies as a male and says this opportunity has helped him make a difference.
To be involved with the LGBTQIA community at Elon, it feels like I'm making somewhat of a difference.
He says he plans to continue this experience in the future.
I actually always wanted to be in drag shows. I just never had the opportunity. And so I'm hoping that if everything goes well tonight, that I can continue doing it semi-professionally.
Both Linklater and Wilkes hope Spectrum will continue hosting events like Dragstravaganza in the future.
We are definitely trying to create more of a community, one where people can feel accepted and safe.
Corey Shegda, Elon Local News.
If you are interested in joining Spectrum, they have weekly meetings on Thursdays at 7 p.m. in Linder, room 102.
Students and faculty covered each other in paint outside Moseley on Friday, celebrating an Indian tradition. Holi, the Indian Festival of Color, celebrates the spring season. It brings many different people together to have fun and throw paint. The Truitt Center hosted Holi to teach others to appreciate different cultures and religions other than their own. And for some, it worked.
This was such an amazing experience. I've never done anything like it. And now I really want to go to India and experience it for myself.
Coming up after the break, as the semester is winding down, many Elon athletic teams are saying goodbye to their seniors. I'm Rajat Agarwal, and I'll have more on their final games coming up in sports. Good evening, everybody. I'm Rajat Agarwal. Thanks for joining us tonight. With spring sports winding down, many teams honored their seniors this weekend. But first, we begin with Elon softball, who is looking to capture their first Southern Conference Series win of the year. It was the team's annual Pink Day. The women's softball team wore pink jerseys Saturday in honor of breast cancer awareness. They welcomed Appalachian State to Hunt Softball Park for a SoCon showdown. In their first game in the series, they bounced back 4-0. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. The women's lacrosse team also played this weekend, and they honored senior Emily Bishop for their game. Here's what Coach Hexter had to say after the game. The team will welcome Sanford for a series next weekend and also Senior Day. Speaking of Senior Day, the Elon women's lacrosse team, sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. We'll bounce back to softball right now. Softball held their Pink Day this weekend. Let's take a look at what the softball team did this weekend. It was the annual Pink Day. The women's softball team wore pink jerseys Saturday in honor of breast cancer awareness. They welcomed Appalachian State to Hunt Softball Park for a SoCon showdown. Elon dropped the first game in the series 4-0, but bounced back for an exciting 5-3 walk-off win in the second game. The team will welcome Sanford for a series next weekend and also Senior Day.
I just was like, get your hands through, get them out front. I was looking at Coach Engel and he was like, get your hands out. And I was like, okay, all right. And then whenever I swung, it was a really high ball and I saw it go off the bat hard and I was like, thank you so much.
The tennis team had their Senior Day this week. It's every college athlete's dream to have a legacy as the very best in their sport. This year's group of seniors on both the men's and women's tennis teams may have done just that. Senior Day happens at the end of every sports season, but this year's senior tennis ceremony was unlike any other.
It just brings back so many memories of all of the wonderful times that we have had with Bryn and Jordan and Frida, and it's a lot of mixed emotions.
This year's class has cemented itself at the top, with more wins than any previous senior class. With each last point, the final chapter of Corey Johnston and Jan Sacker's tennis careers came to a close. But all of those results would not have happened without countless hours of dedication.
They've just been an outstanding group to work with. They've gotten so much better too. When you look at their freshman year to their senior year, they have just improved so very, very much.
On the men's side, there was only one senior, but that one was number one. Cameron Silverman is one of the most decorated players to ever go through the program, with 6 SoCon Player of the Week awards throughout his 4 years. Silverman led the Phoenix to its highest ever national ranking of 39.
And when he first got here, I would say he's not a leader because he was young, kind of didn't have a routine of what he was doing, and he's grown. It's been great to see that maturation start.
As one chapter closes, another begins, and Coach Anderson is fully confident this group will succeed.
I'm so proud of what they're going to be able to accomplish in the real world. But we will definitely miss them so very much here.
Also, the Southern Conference releasing its postseason awards today. Men's tennis head coach Michael Leonard named Coach of the Year for the second straight year. That's his 5th time in 10 years at Elon. Silverman also captured Player of the Year honors for the second straight year. On the women's side, Jordan Johnston was named first team All-Conference. Both teams will leave Wednesday to compete in the Southern Conference Championships in Chattanooga. Speaking of Senior Day, the Elon women's lacrosse team honored Emily Bishop after yesterday's home finale against Kennesaw. Bishop was the lone senior on this year's squad. The Phoenix defeated Kennesaw 18-7, led by a career-best 6 goals from freshman Molly Garrigan. Head coach Josh Hexter was very pleased with his time with Emily Bishop. That's all for sports this week. A quick congrats to head coach Mike Kennedy from baseball and his 600th career victory. Megan and Sky, back to you.
That's all the time we have for this week's Elon Local News. Be sure to stay with us throughout the week by checking our website, elonlocalnews.com.
You can also like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, and tune in Thursday at 7:30 p.m. for live coverage of the STA speeches and debate. From all of us here at Elon Local News, have a great week, Elon.